Hello and welcome to RHET3326, Week 3. This is Dr. Harris's disembodied voice over a screen capture of my computer. I just wanted to do a really quick, mostly audio video to talk about Week 3 and a little bit about Week 2 and the ideas that you're throwing out for the formal report. So I'm going to walk you through a few things using the Weebly site and the UALR library, and then talk to you a little bit about Week 2. So the formal report should have a very specific audience. If you read the materials for last week and the materials for the formal report, you'll see a lot of them talk about reaching your audience. That's the key in technical and professional writing, because technical and professional writing is almost always persuasive. Even if you're trying to get someone to use the instructions to set up their coffee maker, you need to create a document that's persuasive in helping them to understand that they need to use those instructions. And with the kind of problem solution report we're doing, you're really going to have to be very careful about the way that you address the audience. And the questions that I have posted on the Weebly site for Week 3 should help you begin to think about your audience and the way that you're going to talk about your subject with them. So I'm just going to blow that up just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. What I wanted to point out and why I'm doing this little video is that for some of you who were a little bit squishy on who your audience is, you weren't sure, or you were creating a really large audience. I'm writing to all nurses, I'm writing to all parents, I'm writing to all members of the community. These questions might be the second thing that you do. You might first need to do a little bit of research on Google, do a little bit of research on the library databases, to kind of understand more about your problem before you answer this set of questions. So once you have a really firm grasp of what your topic is, kind of the scope of your topic, have narrowed it down to a really local issue or problem, these questions will help you understand the tone that you should take, the kind of research you should gather. And number one seems kind of ridiculous, but I'd like to know who you're writing to. Is it the board of directors for an organization? Is it the head of a unit in a hospital? Is it the name of a particular person who runs an eating establishment? Who is that person? Find out who that is to the best of your ability at this point, and start thinking about from the beginning that person sitting down with your report in hand and reading it. You sitting across the table from that person. What is that person going to do when they read your document? What does the audience or reader know about this subject? And this is key because a lot of you started out with the question of, what is my topic? And that's a great question for you to ask to gather background information so you understand it. But the reader or audience might already know what the thing is that you're talking about. So you're not going to need to necessarily include that in the report. What will you need to be including in the report? Why would my reader be interested in this problem? What does it matter to them? So you're writing about... I'm just going to use an example that pops in my head. You're writing about the homelessness issue in Little Rock, and your audience or reader is the, I don't know, city manager. What does it matter that they're homeless in his city or her city? Why is my reader interested in this problem? What are they going to gain? And that can really help direct your research as well. What do I need to convince them of? Just that there is a problem. What are they, like I said, going to gain from reading my report and implementing my solution? What have others gained from it? And that might direct some of your research as well. How well do you know your readers? What tone will you need to take in writing to build or keep an audience? Some of you will know your readers well. I'm thinking about Wanda in this instance. You're going to know your readers really well. You've probably worked with them. Some of you have that same kind of situation where you're at a workplace. Scott, you might know your readers very well. Other people might not know their readers at all. You might never have seen them. You have no idea what they're all about. You'll have to do a lot of kind of guesswork. But what you will need to think about is the tone. Are you going to be explanatory? So how would you feel if someone sat down across from you and said, let me explain to you something you know really well. Are you going to pay attention? No, you're going to zone out. So same thing with your readers, thinking about that kind of balance. And And then what specific information will your audience or reader need to know about the problem or solution in order to understand and address the problem and to implement the solution? This could be cost. This could be steps and procedures. If you want someone to deal with the issue of homelessness and you do research and you find out that it's really all about mental health, how can you put into place procedures that help people get mental health counseling, help people get the medicines that they need? So these questions are really going to help you direct your research, even though they don't at first seem like they will. Helping to kind of sort out and understand what you can and cannot talk to your reader about to keep their attention, what you will and won't need as far as evidence and research, will help you with the second part of this. So once you've answered those questions, you're going to locate and annotate 5 sources. You can use more. I'd like you to not use less at this point. You don't necessarily need to use all those sources in your final report. These will just be kind of a guideline so I can see that you're able to find information that you need and kind of help and focus the information that you're going to find. So find 5 of the sources, and I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. Cite your sources in one of the 2 formats I've listed here. And there's an appendix in your textbook that will help you with that. And then under each citation, I'd like you to do these 3 things. So write a brief description of what the source contains. This can be 2 to 3 sentences. A brief description of what particular purpose this source serves in your project. So go back up to your list. Is this going to help them understand the problem? Will this help them implement the solution? Is this going to be a source that you use to build on relationship with your audience to demonstrate your knowledge of the subject? So tell me what the purpose is for that source in this project. And then describe why the audience you've identified for your report will find this source reliable. Is it a research report? Is it coming from a source that they're going to recognize? Does it have reliable data? Why are they going to find it reliable? When they go to your works cited page, are they going to go, oh, no, these are all kind of shady sources. I'm not going to implement this solution. Or are they going to say, yeah, this person's really done their research. They've done their groundwork. And then complete this activity in Google Docs. Be sure that I can edit because I'll have a lot of information probably to put on that to help to shape where you're going. Finally, I just want to talk about 2 places you might go to you may not have used before to complete your research. And the first is the UALR library. I'm just going to show you how to get to their website. So if you go to the main UALR webpage, and that's just saved in my frequent sources list on my computer, but you can always just ualr.edu that. You, I'm sure, know that already. Scroll down on the left-hand side, you'll see libraries and collections. And there are 2 ways to get started searching with libraries and collections. Actually 3. I'm going to tell you a really cool one I use all the time. You can either just type your topic into here and it will search all of the library resources. So it's going to pull from books, from databases, journals, online resources. It just kind of does a scattershot approach. The second place you can go to is articles and databases itself. And you can search there by subject. So if you're doing something in the state of Arkansas, you can search by Arkansas. If you're doing something with health related, you could search biology, education. You can do health sciences. So you can kind of narrow down, let's just do health sciences, although I'm going to not be as reliable about this because I'm not a nurse. This is going to give you a list of databases you can search in that are just health related. Same thing for education, and because I know more about education, I'm going to go back and click on that one. Submit. These are the education resources that you can use. I know for a fact, I use JSTOR all the time. I use Education Research Complete quite a bit. The other ones less so, but those 2 in particular, and dissertations and theses can really give you a heads up on some things that are not necessarily published in traditional journals. The third thing you can do here, if you're really, really stuck, is this little button over here called Ask a Librarian. If you click on that, this window comes up. You can call them, you can go by the library, or you can chat with librarians. And this is amazing. I do this all the time. I'm like, I can't find this resource. I really need information on X, Y, and Z. And as long as this little button shows available, they are there and will answer you. It's beautiful. You can email them, Ask a librarian through email, hey, here's the question I have, here's my project, and they will help you find resources. So use those librarians. They're kind of sitting there waiting for you. I've had massive success using this resource, and I've published many research documents, so I still go there and ask the librarian, excuse me, about resources I need to find. The last thing I wanted to show you is Google Scholar. And this is an offshoot of Google that is actually a more academic database. It pulls from peer-reviewed texts. So it's not quite as kind of hit and miss as traditional Google. You're going to pull a little bit more reliable resources from here. So I'm going to type in my research topic, which is online learning perceptions. So my big research study that I'm working on right now is perceptions of students related to online classes. So what I really need are peer-reviewed journals that deal with what students believe about online teaching and learning. Here's one right here that looks amazing, Students' Perceptions of Online Learning. And I notice over here to this right-hand side, it has actually PDF full text, and I can click on that link, and hopefully it will take me directly to that article. You're not always going to find the PDF full text. I actually haven't seen this. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to save that for later. They won't always have this. You can see this one here doesn't have that, but it is in ERIC, and we have ERIC database, educational resource database in our library. So you can just take the link, click on that, take the title, and go directly to our library webpage, type this in, and you should be able to find that. So that's another place you might go to find more reliable resources. Google might be the place where you go to find reliable resources. You might find government websites on that search, but those are just two places you can go other than Google. Maybe start on Google, find some sources, move to Google Scholar, find some more sources, and then use the library website when you really have very specific things that you're going to need to find at the end. So I'm going to wrap this up so it doesn't take you all day to listen to it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to be working on grading all week. I know the last week's grammar activity was long and tedious, and there's a reason for that. Those are really common errors, and if you can kind of get those kinds of syntactic and grammatical issues under control, your writing will improve dramatically with just a few changes. So I use those to talk to students about really strong changes using just a few new tools. So if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week. I look forward to reading and discussing more about your projects. And please do let me know if you have any questions. Take care.